the moment has finally come. I finally have more information about IVF for you guys. So yeah, keep watching and I'll tell you why I'm waiting and more about IVF funding. Hey guys, so back in January I had posted a Ask Your Questions video, and the question that was asked was about why I'm waiting for IVF. I'm assuming that person follows me on Instagram, because I did have a countdown on Instagram saying like, oh, 300 and whatever days to go till IVF. So they asked like, why am I waiting? So I'm kind of answering that question, as well as I'm going to talk about IVF funding and the stuff that I've learned today, like this morning. So you're getting this right away because I just want to share it with you guys and to let you know. And I also have a bit of a follow-up to the video I posted on Saturday. I was like really frustrated with my clinic, and I had talked about my frustrations and I asked for advice, so I kind of have a follow-up for that too. So this is kind of like an IVF update, follow-up, everything kind of thing. So first off, to answer the question of the person who asked about my IVF funding, I originally did film a video for that, and then it got corrupted, so I didn't refilm it, but I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I can kind of give you guys more information all in one video and hopefully not ramble too long. But basically, I am waiting for IVF funding. I was not going to wait originally. I was going to wait till I saved up enough money, and also with the current medication I'm on to help suppress my endo, it wasn't working the way it was supposed to. So things were getting delayed and delayed because I was still having spotting and cramping, which is a sign that the medication wasn't doing its job. Since then, it's been getting better. I just did a 4-month update, which will pop up there, recently, where I talked about it's been improving, but I'm still having some issues. So that was one of my major delays. The other delay was finances. It's really hard to save up money when you're not working. I mean, I have an income, but I am also spending more than I'm supposed to, which is why I now have a February challenge to not spend money. But now with the IVF funding, it makes more sense for me to wait just to get the funding than to worry about trying to save it up for myself. So about the IVF funding. So basically I'm waiting because I'm waiting for funding and for my meds to work. That's pretty much the reason why I'm waiting so long. But anyway, so my last appointment, the doctor said I would get IVF funding. The earliest is November. So basically that hasn't changed at all. Like, it's still earliest will be November. But I now have like a latest date. So right now the wait list for the majority of people is 12 to 18 months. So the 18 months from when I got onto the list would put me in about August, September of 2017. So that's kind of like my end date for when I would get funding. However, and the earliest would be like January. However, in the webinar where I learned all this information, he mentioned that people with that are at risk of aging out, so the age limit for funding is 43, so women that have to be under that before they start their cycle, so women that are at risk of aging out before funding, women who have diminished ovarian reserve, so they have an issue with they're running out of eggs basically, and he said specifically women with endo who are currently being treated with medication like Lupron, who after their treatment's done need to do IVF, or something similar like that. He mentioned women with endo who are currently on Lupron or who are using Lupron, and I am not on Lupron though. So I'm not sure if I'm included in this group of women who are getting prioritized. I'm not sure if I'm in that group or not, because the medication I'm on does not have a time limit like Lupron does. With Lupron, you have to have like IVF right after. You can, how do I put it? You can only be on the medication for 6 months. That's your maximum. And you have to have IVF right after because your endometriosis will grow back. So for women with Lupron, you only can be on it for 6 months. It causes, I think, like bone density issues or something. I don't know. It's also referred to as the devil's drug because it's like horrible side effects. I am on a nicer drug called Vizan. With Vizan, it does not have as nasty side effects, and there is no maximum time you can be on it. So like right now, with how I'm feeling with it, I don't care. Like, I could be on it forever because my endo symptoms are not that bad. The side effects from it is not that bad. So it's not like I'm feeling like I need to get off this medication. But I don't know if that will bump up my priority in the wait list. Because he said November in my last appointment, I'm thinking that I might be categorized in that. Just because like once you get your endo suppressed and you have it like under control, you kind of want to do it right away. So when I go to my March appointment, I'm going to ask if I'm categorized in that group or not. And that way I'll know, like, yes, I'm going to be bumped up in priority, or no, I'm stuck waiting the 12 to 18 months, which would put me January 2017 to around August 2017. Now, you're probably like, why won't you just save up and pay for it yourself instead of wasting time and cost? For you that have done IVF, this is all going to make sense to you. And when you're like, wow, I could have all that covered, it'll make sense. For you that have no clue about IVF, sorry, this probably isn't going to help you very much. But basically, lots of things are covered and I will save lots of money. So the cycle itself is covered, which will cost normally around $6,000. So that's covered. ICSI, where they take the sperm and directly put it into the egg, is around $1,750, and that's covered. Assisted hatching is covered, where they help the embryo start to hatch. That usually around $300. That's covered. What else is covered? All my blood work and stuff is covered, which was always covered. All my testing's all covered. Counseling is covered if I choose to want counseling during my cycle. And the freezing of the embryos is covered, which is around, I think, like $800, $875 for the freezing of the embryos, and any future transfers from that batch of embryos. So if I get, say, 10 good embryos, and they transfer 1 and freeze 9, and that cycle fails, I have 9 more I can do. Or if that one succeeds and I decide later I want a second child, I have 9 chances left from good quality, hopefully, embryos. What it does not cover is medication, which will run about $3,000. It does not cover donor sperm, which will run about $600. And then it does not cover storage, which is about $275, I think, per year. For the embryos. So those are the only 3 things that I know of that it doesn't cover. On top of that, I will have to pay for gas driving to and from the clinic, and I am hoping to stay in whatever city I'm doing it in, which I'll explain a bit in more detail in a second, but I want to stay there for at least the 2 weeks from first appointment to egg retrieval. But ideally, if I have enough money saved up, I would like to do it from start of cycle until either positive pregnancy test or AF. So that's kind of where I'm at. Time sucks. Yes, it sucks to be like, oh, I have a year and a half, 17 months to go before I get to do anything. But in my mind, I'm saving myself like at least $6 or $7,000. Like, it's a lot of money that I'm saving myself. It will be worth it. Like, that $7,000, think of it, all the money you could do with an extra $7,000. On top of that, all the money that I'm saving from, I live with my parents currently, so I'm saving money on rent. And the longer I live with my parents, the more money I can save. So that extra, say, 10 months that I really don't want to wait, but I will, that's 10 months of rent that I can also save. So not only am I saving that $7,000, I'm saving another, like, almost $10,000 on rent and utilities. Like, I'm saving a ton of money by just kind of waiting it out. So I mentioned about this, like, staying wherever city I'm in for the IVF. The one thing is that my clinic is not technically the clinic that's going to do the IVF. They are what's considered a satellite. So they are working with 2 other clinics currently, and that's where you go. You can pick a clinic out of those 2 and be like, I prefer to go to this one or I prefer to go to that one. One of them's about an hour from my house. The other one's about 2 hours from my house, and is right by my current clinic. So I could be like, oh, I want to go to the one that's only an hour away. But the problem with that is, what if the other one has an opening sooner and I could get into that sooner, and I've just closed that door by saying I only want to go to this one. So I'm just going to do first come, first serve. Whoever has a spot for me, that's where I'm going. I mean, I drive to the other clinic now and I don't have an issue with it. But in So I don't know where exactly I'm going to be doing my IVF cycle now, because it depends on who has a room for me. So that kind of brings me to where I talked about on Saturday. On Saturday, I was really frustrated with my clinic because communication with them sucks, like horribly sucks. But now knowing that it's not going to matter anyway, because I don't know what clinic I'm going to for my actual IVF. So none of that matters, because whoever's going to have a spot for me that will be funded, that's where I'm going to go. Because it's only going to cost me, what, like less than $4,000 for the actual IVF. So I can't complain, really, with any clinic if I'm getting it for $4,000. And also, I can't switch clinics at this point, because once you are on a registered list for the IVF funding, switching apparently is really hard and really not worth it. So especially because I know my clinic doesn't have an issue with my weight, and I think he really understands endometriosis and understands the urgency with endometriosis. I think he's more likely to like prioritize my case over another doctor who might just see endo as another fertility issue and not understand that we need it done as soon as possible. So anyway, so that's why I'm waiting, and that's kind of the update. So they are doing it triage based, where they do it needs based. But they are saying that the longest wait right now would be around 18 to 24 months, with 18 being the maximum really for the majority of people on the list right now, which isn't that bad really. Like, you think about it, I've been waiting 3 years now, so like another year and a bit, what difference does it make? At least I will be able to save a ton of money by doing it this way, because I have that money now. Like, it's not like I have to save up $12,000 in order to do that. Like, I'm ready to go whenever they're ready to go, which they're doing 3 months at a time. So right now they're notifying people that are in April, May, and June are getting their notifications saying, look, you're doing a cycle in April, May, or June. So I won't really know for sure until I get that notification. I can call them and be like, hey, do you know roughly when? And I guess I can ask them now, my next appointment, has anything changed? Do you still see me roughly around November at the earliest, or has something changed that I'm now pushed back, and whatnot? But basically I'm going to ask him, okay, I watched your webinar on the funding, and one, am I in that group that you're classifying as higher priority because of endometriosis? Am I in that group because I'm on the Vizan and not the Lupron? And also, is August, like 2017, like that 18 months really going to be the actual like cutoff for my maximum weight? Because I'm willing to wait it out, because my age isn't a factor. I mean, I'm 28 now, so I wanted to have a child before I was 30, but the fact that I can have IVF before I'm 30 definitely helps me have more time to lose weight, save more money, and then hopefully I'll have enough money saved, but just from the IVF, that I can go to Disney during maternity leave, because that's been one of my things that I really want to do. So yeah, or I could have more time off with the baby, or I could like take this time to really get my doula business going before going through the IVF and stuff like that. Like, there's so much, like, I'll figure out stuff to do. I don't have to go back to work financially until August, maybe September of this year, so I will have had a full year off of work to kind of do whatever, have a little break. So it's not a big deal to have another year after that, to have to wait it out. But yeah, I think that's it. I can't remember if I hit all the points that I wanted to talk about. The waitlist issue isn't to do with the clinic, it has to do with the funding. They only have so many spots that are funded. That's, the government only has so much money that they've allocated. And for me, the whole, okay, well, I have to wait 18 months, which, like I said, that's the maximum. He told me November at the earliest. I'm thinking more January, February, March kind of time, which would be the 12 months. But really, like, if you could save like $7,000, $6,000 off your IVF and not have to worry, and have, if the cycle fails, have the opportunity to do frozen embryo transfer for just the cost of meds, would you guys not want to take that? Like, yeah, whatever, urgency. Oh, Taylor. That's what happens when she poops and poop gets stuck on her bum. Sorry about that. So the money that I'm saving is definitely worth just waiting it out. Especially because on these meds, my endo should be suppressed, or hopefully soon suppressed. And then, I don't know what she's doing. And then, so on these meds, hopefully my endo is being suppressed right now, or hopefully in the future is going to be suppressed. So it's not like the clock is ticking anymore with my endo growing. Hopefully, like I said, it's being suppressed or soon will be suppressed. If it's not, I'm hoping he might put me on Lupron at my next appointment or something, just to kind of make sure it's working. But I don't know, I haven't been having that many issues, so I'm hoping that, like recently, haven't been having that many issues, so hopefully it will stay that way. But definitely once I know I am having IVF, I will let you guys know. In the meantime, you get to be in the dark just like me. I mean, I'm having an appointment in next month, so I'll update you guys then, but a lot of it's just gonna be waiting. And thank you guys for sticking with me on this endless journey to motherhood. I mean, this channel is only 2 years old, I think, now, but my whole like planning and stuff started almost 3 years ago, so it's just been, seems like never ending. And maybe that's why I'm okay with waiting, because it feels like it's never gonna happen anyway, so why not just wait it out, and then if it happens, then the Zan is done. Hey.